You aren't going to be able to run like Eliud Kipchoge from day one, and those aches and pains seem to last for a bit longer. You must train your mindset to think about the long-term benefits over the short term of discomfort. Push through the pain and do not give up. Starting to run when you're over the age of 30 might seem like a daunting task, but it's one of the best decisions that you can make for your health, fitness and well-being. Running is a simple, accessible way to improve cardiovascular health and boost mental clarity and even extend your life. But it's important to remember that you aren't going to be able to run like Eliud Kipchoge from day one, and you'll need to embrace the beginner mindset. You don't need to be fast, you don't need to be in perfect shape, and you don't need to be able to run long distances from day one. The goal is to start where you are and embrace the journey that you're going on. And in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the things to be aware of when getting started, and some of the things that have helped me in my journey with running and why it's now such an important part of my life at the age of 46. But before we do that, please could I ask that if you do subscribe to the channel today, please leave a comment below saying I subscribed so that I can see it and personally thank you for it. It means a lot to me, and I like to be able to show my appreciation for the support in helping me build this channel. Okay, so the very first thing to think about is actually mindset. Running is all about patience and all about the long-term benefits that are associated with it. And it's likely that in your 30s, your body doesn't feel quite like it used to, and those aches and pains seem to last for a bit longer. You'll likely have every excuse as to why you can't or shouldn't get started. Whether it's historical injuries, a busy lifestyle, kids, job, poor health, whatever. Honestly, I know because I've been there. The human brain is wired to want to take the path of less resistance, and running, especially when you're a little bit older and especially if you aren't used to it and maybe you're a bit unfit, it's going to hurt at first. But you must, and I mean you must train your mindset to think about the long-term benefits over the short term of discomfort. Running when you're unfit and a little heavier than you'd like to be is hard work. But the pain and discomfort of running is temporary, and the feeling of accomplishment and achievement that you get is far stronger and will last longer. So you should start with a commitment to yourself that come what may, running in whatever form will now be part of who you are. If you want to feel the true physical and mental benefits of running, then you need to embrace consistency and push through the pain that there will no doubt be in the first few weeks and show up as your new consistent self. And if you're starting running and haven't been very active recently or in a long time, then you need to start slowly and build up gradually. If you're completely new to running, start with brisk walking. It's actually the best way to start forming a running base to build up from. Gradually introduce short running intervals. A popular strategy that you've probably heard of is the walk-run strategy. So you run for 1 minute and then maybe you walk for 2 or 3 minutes, and you repeat this cycle for 20 to 30 minutes. And as your fitness improves, reduce the walking time and increase the running intervals. And in several weeks, you'll amaze yourself just how far you can run without walking now. But learning to walk before you run is a good analogy here for how our body's ability to adapt to your lifestyle change. Going from a sedentary lifestyle to a more active one puts a lot of strain on your body that it's not been used to for some time. So listening to your body is a crucial way of avoiding injury. It's important to listen to your body and allow yourself time to recover as part of your running routine. Another thing to think about is having the correct footwear. Running shoes can be very expensive, but you don't need the latest carbon-plated race shoe from the popular brands. You simply need a supportive, comfortable running shoe that will help and support you in your running journey. And in order for your body to build up its ability to support you in your running, you will also be wise to incorporate some strength training and cross training into your routine. But it's also important not to create barriers to success. Starting running when you don't already is already a big change. Don't bite off too much too quickly, as if you do, you'll probably become overwhelmed and likely stop. So depending on where you are and your level of fitness, it's likely that at first running is going to seem hard or even very hard. And it's very likely that your mind is going to very regularly tell you to stop. It's likely that your heart rate will be significantly elevated compared to where it used to being, even at slower paces. And people talk about running being relaxing and a time to think and be creative, but at first all you're going to think about is how out of breath you are, how much it hurts and how much you want to stop. It's important to be realistic, but over time with consistency you'll find yourself experiencing moments where you can switch off and be at peace, and even experience that running high that you hear so much about. And this is where you must, as I said earlier, push through the pain and do not give up. Now, if you do decide to take up running, it's likely that you're doing it to be a healthier and more active person than you've been. And if you want to get the best out of yourself and the best out of your new commitment to running, then you must remember that running is only one piece of a bigger jigsaw puzzle of your health. You need to think about your diet and how you fuel yourself for running. But before we do that, let's talk about your body and how it uses fuel during running. And I'm going to keep this intentionally high level and simplified. So if you run slowly, keeping your heart rate at less than 70% of your maximum heart rate, then it's likely that your body will use fat reserves in your body as fuel. If you run at 70% or more of your maximum heart rate, your body will burn carbohydrates stored in your muscle as its energy source, which depletes quicker. And if you aren't sure what your maximum heart rate is, then you can usually find that on a sports watch if you wear one, or a very general and non-scientific rule is that if you take 220 and minus your age, you come up with there or thereabouts for your maximum heart rate. So for an example, let's say a 40-year-old has a maximum heart rate of 180, which is 220 minus 40. And then based on what I've just said, any running that they do that is under 127 beats per minute would be fat burning, and anything above 127 beats per minute would be carbohydrate burning. You need to prioritize good quality nutrition and with good complex carbohydrates and proteins to help build the required energy sources and building blocks for muscle growth and repair. It really is a case of what you put in is what you get out when it comes to how you fuel yourself for a long-term commitment to running. And again, we can't get away with poor nutrition choices in the same way that we could in our teens and 20s. Also important is hydration, and especially when you start out. Water is a great source, but what will help even more is electrolyte drinks like this one to help your body replace salts and minerals that you'll sweat out during your runs. You can get ready-made drinks, or you can get powders and tablets to add to your water also. And remember, if you feel thirsty during your run, then it means you're already dehydrated, which will seriously impact both your performance and your enjoyment of your run. A big reason that people lose interest or discipline when it comes to running is because how much they ache, sometimes for days after running. And it's true, delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS as you may have heard of that term, is a real thing, and it can really put a downer on your motivation levels. And adding to the fact that we're in our 30s plus, those aches just seem even worse and can even stop us doing tasks that we need to do as part of our day-to-day responsibilities. And this is where warming up, and particularly warming down, is key. Warming down through a short walk after your run and some stretching will go a long way to removing the lactic acid from your muscles that cause DOMS, and it will have you ready for your next run whenever that will be, without the soreness that you would have had if you hadn't done that warm down. And one of the biggest mistakes that beginner runners make is to run every run at the same pace and the same intensity. Now, don't get me wrong here, the most important thing is actually making the effort and showing the consistency to get out there and run. However, in time, I'm sure that you'll also want to find ways to improve, and in order to do that, you need to impact the various different training zones and systems. Now, you may have heard the term Zone 2 training being an important factor in building an aerobic base, but I think you can simplify it further when you're just starting out so that you don't have to worry about 5 zones and what they mean and where you are. I think that we can simplify it like this. Number 1, easy fat burning running, or low aerobic. And this is the type of running where you can chat freely to a friend and not feel out of breath. And this type of running should form about 70% of your monthly running and should be run at less than 70% of your maximum heart rate. Number 2 is medium intensity, so harder efforts or high aerobic. You feel like you've worked hard, but not so hard that you feel totally exhausted afterwards. And this should form about 20% of your monthly running. And you should try to keep this between 70 and 85% of your maximum heart rate. And finally, we've got hard intensity, which is your maximum or anaerobic efforts that you can't sustain for long periods. This should form about 10% of your monthly running. And this is where you push your heart rate to about 85% plus of your maximum capacity. The important thing to remember here is that your easy runs need to be easy to make sure you build that base required for improvement. At first, base running may even seem like quick walking and seem like you're not doing anything. But believe me, soon you'll be able to pick up the pace and your effort and heart rate will stay the same as it was before. One of the most helpful ways to keep consistent and motivated is to set yourself achievable goals to work towards. At first it will be something like running for 10 minutes without stopping, but soon after it could be to do a park run, for example, or a 5k race or a 10k race. At first it will seem like doing that is a million miles away, excuse the pun, but you'll get there sooner than you think with consistency and dedication. A barrier that some people are concerned about is what other people will think about them if they see them running slowly or looking out of breath on the streets. And I know it's easier said than done, but you must remember that your decision to embrace running for whatever reason is about you, not what other people think about you. And I can say now with quite a few years of experience that the running community is one of the most inclusive and non-judgmental groups of people in the world who will encourage and support you in your journey. By making a commitment to running, and especially running outside, you're showing the world that you hold yourself accountable and that you set yourself high standards and respect yourself. And especially when we get into our 30s and 40s and beyond, for the most part, people really respect that a lot. And if I can offer you just one bit of advice to take from this video, is to get yourself down to a local park run and see what an amazing group of people and runners there are as part of that community. It's likely that you'll sleep better as well as a result of running. And it's when you sleep that your body recovers and your cells regenerate. Make sure that you're allowing yourself enough time to sleep, especially in the first few months of your new running journey, as fatigue and tiredness can be a reason to give up, which we do not want to happen. But in my opinion, the biggest barrier to success in embracing running, or any change that requires commitment and hard work, is mindset. When we get to our 30s and 40s plus, it's likely that we've all got busy lives. It's likely that we've all encountered some form of injury in our lifetime, and we've all got other conflicting priorities and commitments such as jobs, children, etc. And it's actually quite funny how creative our brains can be when trying to find excuses why we shouldn't do challenging activities. But the human body is capable of extraordinary things, and the only limiting factor really is our own mindset weakness. And I know this from personal experience, as I use the fact that I had a busy and high pressure job and I've had 4 knee operations in my life as a reason that I couldn't run. And I used this as my excuse for many years, and together with some other really poor choices, I ended up a lazy and unhealthy middle-aged man who couldn't run a bath, let alone a marathon. But now here I am at the age of 46, 162 days into a running everyday streak, averaging 5 miles per day, and I've run over 2,500 miles in the last 18 months. So anything is possible if you can control your mind. All it takes is one step, and it doesn't matter how fast, how far, or what you wear. You just need to make that one step and commit to change. And you'll be amazed just how much running can help your mental health, giving you space to dedicate to yourself in this hectic world that we all live in. And if you are in your 30s and beyond and you've been holding off starting, then I encourage you to take that first step. It is going to be hard work at first. I'm not going to lie about that, but it's not nearly as scary as some people think it is. And imagine doing something for yourself that your future self will thank you for, and to feel more confident, be in better shape, and likely to live longer as a result of the action that you take now. I hope you found some of this helpful, and if so, please consider giving the video a thumbs up, as it really helps. And if you're either considering or starting on your running journey, then let us know in the comments so we can give you a bit of an encouragement to get your journey started. And if you wish to, come and find me on Strava. I'll put a link up here. And if you're interested in hearing how I establish a running streak of now over 160 days at the age of 46, then check out this video here. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.